Welcome again. We have the Democratic Group Section here with Dr. Chris Ross. He is the chair of the section. I am Dr. Laurel Barr again. I am the chair of the Early Career Physician Section, formerly Young Physician Section. So today we're going to be talking about the Democratic Group Section, which is not politically affiliated and is really about the type of group practice.
Yeah. Well,
So
thanks
we're
for
going to
getting that out of the
dispel
way up
some
front.
myths
Yeah.
and take some action here. So Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So how did you get involved in this section? Tell me a little bit about your involvement and what the section is about.
Oh man. My involvement. I've been friends with Democratic group leaders across the country for a bit, and they knew that there's a kind of a track to leadership, and they knew that the track to leadership was opening. And so I was like, hey, Chris, you should run. You should really do this. I think it'd be good. So I, reached out and said, hey, I'd be willing to throw my hat in. And they're like, absolutely, you're the guy. So that was how I kind of got involved in the Democratic Group Section leadership. And then what was the second question was, well, what are we about?
Mm-hmm.
We're a group, we're a section of ACEP, obviously, that supports and helps Democratic groups grow, learn, share knowledge, kind of a big database of information for Democratic groups, and a community where they can share information between each other, attend webinars together, help just support the Democratic group model. Get our stake in ACEP larger, get our voice stronger, all those things.
And what is the Democratic group model?
The Democratic group model is a model where you have the potential to be an owner in your group, so you can be a partner, and then with that partnership, you can vote on things. You also have profit share. So you imagine whenever your group has a busy year as a partner, then you benefit from that. Say you want you want to add a shift onto one of your sites just because it's way busier than it had been before. That's a vote between the partnership sort of thing. So Democratic group model is where you have a lot of say in your job, and you're actually an owner of your job. It's not a more passive sort of arrangement where you're clocking in and clocking out most of the time. Although there are some people in Democratic groups that do that, you have the option to have more control over your destiny with a Democratic group.
Excellent. So it's part business ownership in your group instead of just collecting a paycheck and going for shifts, but you can be any political affiliation with this.
Yeah, and you can collect it. I mean, like I said, we do have in my group and a bunch of other Democratic groups, we do have people that come and collect a check, but that check they get is a share of the patient seen. So you get to decide how much overhead there's going to be in your group. You get to decide all those sort of things, and then you have more control over what you take home.
Right, because the problems with creating an extra shift is then it's more docs per patient, it's more hours. So you get to decide if you want to be paid more hourly or less hourly, or collect the RVU bonus at the end when the group's more profitable, which is a decision that in some groups goes up to many, many levels above, but here you keep it local so you have some control and you can have better direct patient care, or at least decisions made by those on the ground doing patient care.
Yeah, it's funny. When I talk to other folks, I know friends in academia and friends in larger, private equity owned groups and et cetera. And like having like have to put PowerPoints together and things like that and present to like 4 different levels of people to be able to get approval for something where I have never put a PowerPoint together for any of the things that we voted on, which I guess I'm proud to say.
Oh man, but that was a lot of my education.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can't say I don't appreciate. I definitely appreciate a good PowerPoint. So, yeah, I totally respect that. But it's just another thing where you can have a conversation, like we have a group meeting later today about some issues, or not necessarily issues, some potential avenues that we might be pursuing, and it's going to be a conversation. We all sit down and or get on Zoom or whatever and talk through the issues to try to find out what we want to do, and then we have a vote at the end of the day.
Yeah, instead of making that PowerPoint for the next level.
Exactly.
Excellent. So I imagine your section as not a political affiliation, but this is what we should have learned in medical school while we were learning all the rest of the things, is how to manage group. What do you do this? How do you bill? How do you revenue cycle? So this is really something that is just not really a niche, but I wish it were more widespread within the profession, with all the changes that are going on.
Yeah, I think so too. It was interesting because so I graduated from at Indiana University, emergency medicine residency, and like throughout the entire residency, it was preached that Democratic group was the model that you wanted to go for, and this is why, and things like that. So when I got out, that was the model I wanted to go for. I figured I was a competitive applicant. I could try and find a good job, and that's what I found. And it's amazing how few residents now. Are aware it's even a thing, I guess, or people that are looking for a job. Like I was telling you before this call started, like I've attended the last two ACEP section hall crawls, and I've had to explain kind of that this model is a thing to, it seems like about half the people that come by and talk to me. And I guess it's a shame that people just are not aware that this is an option. A lot of people think it's a dying breed as well, but we've definitely had a resurgence. Like there's a lot of support for our sort of model amongst hospital payers, all that. So yeah, I think it's definitely becoming more prominent. It's definitely still something that is valuable, especially to the physicians that are in those groups. And you mentioned also about the kind of business part. A lot of it is kind of the business part, just because you're part owner. But we do have other discussions as well, recruitment and things like that are I guess less businessy, and we try to make them more fun. So it's not like we're talking about 99283 versus 99285 coding all the time. I'm not going to make you totally bored with all that.
So the not alphabet soup, but the number
Yeah.
soup of
Yeah, no,
the coding.
that might get thrown in some of the things, which is good to know because it's where how you butter your bread on a daily basis. But we try to make it entertaining and have other things that you may not know that you're interested in. Also, as a part of that.
Well, and so much that goes into it, and maybe there's not an awareness because there is less than there were 20 years ago. But also, there's some markets where it's just not really the majority business model. But this section is also helping to provide those resources so that if you are interested in this and there's nothing around, you might be able to start a group like this.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do is make it simpler to start a group. I mean, that was so whenever I took over as president, like I thought, what could I do to prove the most value with my couple of years? And I was thinking, this is becoming more popular. Hospital systems are becoming more and more happy with us as local community businesses. Payers are more happy to negotiate with us, especially recently. So, like, how can I make it easier? How can I break down those barriers to make it to where you could feel more comfortable starting your own group? And so that's what we've been doing over the past 2 years is coming up with a webinar series for all of the different aspects of starting your own group and bringing in experts in like a panel discussion sort of scenario where I ask a bunch of questions that makes that a lot easier from my perspective, because I don't know how to start. I didn't know how to start my own group to start this whole thing off with. But after going through all these discussions, I feel a lot more comfortable that I would kind of know where to go to be able to get those resources started. If I was really interested in, finding my contract, how would I do that? Partnering with other businesses to be able to make that possible. How would I do that? You also mentioned like making this a more popular thing. We also started, we just piloted so far, but we've started a mentorship program, which is where we would tag, early career physicians or residents with a mentor that's been in a Democratic group section or been in a Democratic group for a while, because a lot of the jobs with these groups are not advertised. So, like we've never actually ran an ad for my personal group. We've never had an ad for a job as far as I know. Definitely never since I've been, definitely never since I've been in the group. It's all word of mouth, and that's the way it is for a lot of groups. So, if you're interested in being part of that, that's when you reach out to me or the section and say, hey, is there some way I could get paired with somebody that's been around for a little while, help show me the ropes, I answer some questions, and then, help me see if there's a job locally. because there might be a Democratic group that's close to you, but you just don't know about it just because they're not going to be advertising, and we don't throw big parties and things like that.
So if we want to get involved in a Democratic group, maybe not start our own, but we don't know one in the area, then it would be a good idea to reach out to the section, see if there is anybody in your area or outside that could gear you towards what to look for.
If you're interested in learning more, and like this sounds like what you want to do, then just being paired up with being paired up with a mentor, somebody that's been in the Democratic group section for a while, they could kind of talk to you about those nuances and then also kind of make those connections, help you make those connections.
So the section mission is to provide a forum for members involved in or interested in Democratic group practice, raise awareness of physician ownership, develop a knowledge base on Democratic practice advantages, support emergency physicians' right to determine their own professional destiny through equitable ownership, career longevity, and economic viability.
Yeah, I like the destiny part because it's like there's so many other opportunities that you're going to have where, I mean, and a lot of the times, residents that are graduating or physicians that are looking to move, they have a lot of options. I mean, I get texted from people constantly that, hey, would you like to, locums here or whatever there. There's lots of different options you can have for a career, but there's not a lot of options where you can truly, help create your own destiny in your career, where you can be involved from ground up about the functioning of your business and things. So I think that that's really special with the Democratic group model.
So this could get you involved in not only just more control over the things that affect patient care, this could get you really involved in business ownership and all the advantages that go on with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, patient care. I mean, if you put your name out there to be involved in patient care, a lot of organizations will be happy to have you do those things. How much control you have, I guess, would be a little bit different. But yeah, but in this situation, you have patient care, you have business, recruitment, all those things. So those are parts that you can be involved in a Democratic group.
So what kind of things by joining the section would you be discussing or getting some education in that otherwise, if you were not a business owner in your practice, that you might not have any idea what's going on?
So by joining the section, you get access to our webinars, you get access to the discussion via Engaged. You get the minutes that we send out via Engaged. Our annual meeting we do in person where there's networking and things like that. You get access to that mentorship thing if that's something that's interesting to you. So those would be kind of the advantages of being in our section, and just being part of that, exploring more of that Democratic group model.
Do you talk about contract management at all?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about we had a webinar a year ago or so about how to find a contract, and we had a chief medical officer that was on there that helps negotiate those contracts with other physician groups. So he talked about exactly what he would want from somebody that's looking for those sort of contracts. So, and then we had other folks who have, started new contracts with different hospitals and things like that, and how they went about that. And so, yeah, contract management is a huge part of being a Democratic group, because if you don't have a contract, you don't have a group. So that was a big point of emphasis for our webinar series.
And I mean, in businesses, there's economy of scale, which you don't have as a small group practice. Are there any sections or organizations you collaborate with to kind of advance your goals?
Yeah. So, obviously with we serve through the Democratic group section as kind of a knowledge base. So, where you could tag somebody else in the Democratic group section or network with somebody else where, you would have nationwide huge groups would have people they could ping for different information. We have that with the Democratic group section. I guess we don't technically partner. We're kind of adjacent to the embassy group, EMBC, which is Emergency Medicine Business Coalition, which is a lot of the Democratic groups have been joining and part of over the past several years, where they kind of leverage all numbers of it's like a collaboration of a bunch of groups. They leverage the numbers for like collective purchasing of benefits and things like that, and also for knowledge based sort of things too. So we're kind of adjacent to that. I don't know if any of you have heard of ACEP Indie class, which is kind of been the independent class thing that's put on by Embassy and ACEP. We also kind of partnered with them this year and did one kind of collaborative session there for the Democratic Group Section as well. So it's Embassy and Democratic Group Section are all kind of looking towards similar goals, just serve different purposes.
And that class is a great resource if you just don't know where to start, you don't know what questions to ask, kind of lay it all out for you.
Yeah, it's competitive too, so you better sign up early because it's like they cap it. It's like a really I was invited as the Democratic Group Section president this year, but they cap it. It's a hard cap to keep the small class size just so the networking opportunities are there, and it's awesome. It was a ton of fun, but you're booked from like 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. with like learning, social stuff, networking the whole time. It was but it's a hard cap, so you got to probably register shortly after they release it, otherwise you won't get a spot.
Well, sounds like a great experience.
It is. It was fun.
A lot of the times I'm like, I just need to know what questions to ask to be dangerous. So it sounds like a great way to figure out it when you're really outside your knowledge base, what you should ask to get the right information.
The indie class is pretty business focused. So you'll have a great base of all of that by the end of it if you manage to get in time.
Awesome. So sign up right now is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's open for next year, but if it is, you probably should.
What kind of advocacy priorities does your section have within the college?
So within the college, we're advocating for Democratic groups, obviously. So we're just trying to raise our voice, trying to make the Democratic group voice stronger. And we've been pretty successful doing that. I feel like ACEP listens to us as a whole. I feel like, the more we grow as a section, the more influence we have in ACEP too, just because we have more numbers, it just makes sense. But I feel like, we're trying to advocate within our specialty to help support things that support Democratic groups.
Can you share a recent success story?
Recent success story. So we've had we have this webinar series. So I've been able to touch bases with some folks who are looking to start their own group and trying to undertake this whole thing, and we're looking to support those folks. So we're kind of aligning the webinar series to help support those people, and more or less took the request for what our next webinar should be, which is supporting small groups, and that's going to be April 21st. So it's been really nice there. We've had a lot of outreach, folks that have come back after webinars and say, hey, that was really awesome. It sounded like a dry topic, but at the end of it, it was, we had a lot of fun and learned a lot. So it's been, that's been fun. Those are the small wins, but supporting those people that are trying to start a new group or smaller groups has been the biggest win for me.
And making it possible to start those new groups.
Exactly. That is the goal. That's the absolute goal, that after you're involved in the Democratic Group Section for a bit and you go through our webinar series, then you feel comfortable with the steps you need to start your own group. It sounds crazy, just because you're like, wow, this whole thing, but there's so many resources available for people now to be able to make it a lot easier and lower that barrier for entry. And there's so many people that are willing to help you. It's now's the right time to do that.
What advice would you have for an early career physician, either trying to start within a Democratic group or start their own group?
Get involved and start networking. It's not, you're not going to be able to do this on your own without talking to people and trying to learn from others who are in the space. It's entrepreneurship. It's starting your own business. So in that, you have to have, people that have been through that, had that experience, or at least are able to help you through it to be able to be successful. So I would say super, super simple thing is just be involved in the section. Like that's like low cost, high yield, reach out to folks in the section, say, hey, this is something I'm interested in. Who can I talk with? If you want to dive a little bit deeper and you want to talk with somebody as a mentor, mentee sort of relationship, get in contact with the section leadership and just say, hey, that's something I'm interested in. And then, we'll work to pair you with somebody who's been in it for a while so you can have a more intimate one-on-one sort of discussion and have people kind of refer you. But just don't be afraid to stick your neck out there. Just be out there, talk to people, attend the webinars. It's a really low risk, and as far as like just being involved, low risk and low cost to just find out whether or not that's something you want to do. And if it is something you want to do, we have the resources for that.
And if you are looking into something like this, I think the value of this is surround yourself with people who have done it. Because if I wanted to start my own group and I don't talk to anybody who's ever done it, then I probably won't think it's possible. But if you get involved in this group, start talking to people, get their information, then suddenly you're like, well, I know 30, 50 people who have done it, so I could probably do it too.
And all those people, so that's the whole thing about we're a collective group of people that have like-minded interests. All those people are rooting you on. So if you come out and say, hey, this is something I'm trying to do, people will come out of the woodworks to try to help you just because we all believe that this is the way to go. We get, as you can probably tell, we get overly excited about it. So, if you put your name out there, you put yourself out there, then you'll realize we're a very fun and welcoming community of folks that, can help you out.
Excellent. So we're looking to get involved. How do we take that first step? How do we join?
That's a great question because at the section hall crawl, we had people like registering at the booth or whatever, and I kept having to navigate because it's been a while since I have it kind of on auto or whatever. So you just have to go into your profile on ACEP, add the section or whatever. That's probably the easiest, most simple way to get involved. If you want to email me, I'm all over the engaged thing. Just tag my email. You can email me personally. I'm Chris Ross. It's not. I mean, I'm nothing important, but you can find me there, and then I can help connect you to, or if you have questions, I'd be happy to help you as well. So that's probably the easiest way to get engaged is just to join the section. If you want to get more involved beyond that, email me, email any of the section leadership. We'd be happy to help as well.
Excellent. So go on your section profile, click that box, see what they have on the Engage platform. Webinars are advertised, I think, in the broad ACEP email. So if you're interested in that, that can be a starting point. And then in person at Scientific Assembly, at the hall crawl, get to know everyone, and then email you. You're the head of the mentorship program as chair. So it would go to you and you can set everything up.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be happy to. I honestly, I'm super passionate about it. Really believe that, every physician should be working in this model. I mean, I really do. So I think, if I can help anybody kind of see the light or find their way, I'm happy to.
Well, and you know what? I would love if we went back to where we were before private equity when the majority was Democratic. And I would love that in 10 years we go to no one's asking you what the section is, and they're all like, oh yeah, good. I'm already a member.
Yeah, I would love that as well. And it takes numbers. Like it takes people being involved in the section. Like if half of ACEP is in the Democratic Group section, well, guess what's going to happen to Democratic groups? Democratic groups are going to be more and more popular. We're going to have more and more voice in ACEP. We're going to have more and more voice in emergency medicine. So all you have to do is get involved, and then that starts to happen. And then put your neck out there, see what's available. If you want to take the plunge, even in helping out, joining another Democratic group, as a future partner or a partner, that's, those are all great things that you can do to help support this sort of thing. And I truly believe that, this is certainly something that is doable now. And I truly believe that it's something that, hospitals are looking for, communities are looking for, all that.
Well, thank you so much for being with me here today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Thanks.